everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the latest episode of the Best Real Estate Company Friday Focus. I am a principal broker here at Best Real Estate Company. My name is Kaye Thompson, and I am coming to you. I did take off a couple weeks. We had our Thanksgiving celebrations, and I wanted to give everybody a chance to spend time with their families and to have that, that little space there where you can relax and unwind and not think about real estate. And then I traveled a little bit. I have my youngest nephew, well, one of them, joined the military, and so I got to travel to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which is located in the Ozarks, and it's right about 4 miles, I would say that would be west of a town called St. Robert, which is on Route 66, which is a famous highway in Memphis. I said Memphis, but in the United States, it doesn't go through Memphis. I believe it starts in Illinois and then you wind up somewhere in California. The route was actually decommissioned as a federal highway or thoroughway, I believe in the 80s, but they still have all these wonderful historic places with these big, beautiful, like neon signs. You see a lot of remnants of places from Route 66 in a bunch of movies. And so it was a great joy for me to be there, not only to see my nephew, who I love to pieces, but and to celebrate his accomplishments, but also to be in such a historic part of our country. It meant a lot, and it was beautiful. And I suggest everyone, if you can, take that trip. We actually drove about 5 hours to get there. It's really not that far away. It took 5 hours because we were literally going around these winding roads and hills in the Ozarks. But it was definitely worth it. We stayed in an Airbnb, which was really big and nice. And so all of the family got to come together and canoodle and support my nephew and, take in all these historic places. And it was wonderful. And so hopefully I can keep this at an acceptable place. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of talking about a bunch of different things. I definitely do want to share some information. I know a lot of you may be thinking about your year next year and how you are going to manage your business, how you are going to how you're going to get along next year. You're probably thinking about goal setting and things of that nature. And I just want you guys to know that, well, you probably already know because I talk to you at some point about it every year. I am always very keen on people setting up goals and, thinking about the steps that they're going to take in the next year to be successful. Some of us hit our goals. I'm here to tell you that I very rarely hit all of the goals that I want to achieve for a couple of reasons. One is because I make short-term and long-term goals. So some goals I do have the expectation to complete, and then some goals I'm working on long-term. So I have a further completion date than just within the first year, and I'm having to do things based on what happened in the year to adjust, recollect myself, re-strategize. And so I want to start by saying that there is nothing wrong with having a goal and then having to reset it. I love how some of you come in. I've had a couple of people come in this week well, not this week, but last week actually, to share some of the goals that they had for the coming year. Some of them are very lofty goals, but I think they are achievable um, if they have the proper planning. And then some goals may take a little bit longer than some of you have. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. I do want to give congratulations yet again to our top producing agents of the year. And it does take me a little time to compile this information. Of course, some of you are still working on deals and you still have deals that are closing, but unless you got a whole bunch of stuff going on that's going to all close together, these numbers are not going to change. Or, well, let me not say the numbers, but the people that were in our top producing are not going to change. All of you have done a wonderful job this year. I have seen improvement with a lot of agents in terms of their work ethic and how they move, their organization and strategizing. And so that warms my heart. I do want to give a special shout out to Corey Mayhorn, because Corey has for 2 years now been at the very top of our top producers list for the state of Tennessee. And he started out 3 years ago telling me how he didn't have time and to do, because he does real estate part time and he has other endeavors that he pursues as well full time. And so he was telling me how difficult it was and how he wasn't going to be able to be consistent and that sort of thing. Well, he proved himself wrong and me right. He has been one of our top producers for the last 2 years and has inspired his wife to join us as well. And so I do want to give a special shout out to him. I want to give a special shout out to Jonathan Bunch and Ruth Bunch. That's a husband and wife team too. Jonathan kind of has the same story. He came to us first and then he brought his beautiful wife Ruth along, and they have been doing some phenomenal things in the state of Mississippi, as well as Tanika Bland. I do want to give her a huge shout out as well, because she is what I like to call a silent force. She has a lot of things that she juggles as well, and she consistently does a good job and works to make it to the top. And then she also, when she needs to be, is very respectful and shares her opinions and thoughts with me and things that we can do together to be better, things that we can do to improve. She's such a savvy business person. And so, yes, I did want to give special name recognition to them, because just because they are consistent and they have been consistent the last couple of years. But that doesn't mean that the rest of you who made our list doesn't enjoy or should not be enjoying some name recognition as well. So I'd like to point out first in Arkansas, Lydia Nance, our principal broker over there, and Ida Long, who is an executive broker, who have consistently held us down in Arkansas and making sure that sorry, that was my phone, and making sure that best is always presented and represented in the best and most professional way over in Arkansas. And then, of course, I've already given props to Jonathan and Ruth, but we also have Rolene Sanders, Jaquelva Gaines, Juanita MacArthur. Tanika Bland is also a force in Mississippi. I told y'all Tanika is somebody to watch. Liam Wynn, Susan Hayes, Dunya Chun, and Clarence Dixon for Mississippi. And then in Tennessee, we have Tanika, Erlene Aldridge, Corey Mayhorn, Elizabeth Castillo, who is also very consistent in what she does, and she consistently makes our top producers list. Jonathan Bunch for Tennessee, Walter Jones, who is also very laser focused on working to meet and achieve his goals. And he always talks to me about what he's doing, his challenges, his successes, where he feels like he can look do things differently, and I love that about him. Oksana Piven, who is one of those quiet forces that we very rarely see, but when you are in her presence, she is definitely unforgettable. You will definitely remember her, and she is such a hard worker and such a sweet disposition. Vin Lee, who is always consistent and being on our top producer list. Rolene Austin again for Tennessee, and last but certainly not least, one of my favorite real estate brokers out here. That's Lisa Thomas. She is always consistent, always very thorough. And let me say, Lisa has had some very unique challenges this year as it relates to her business and clientele and things that she's had to work through to get the deal done. And let me tell you, she has done it. So I want to give a huge, huge thank you to all of these agents for all of their efforts this year and all of their success, because it does equal success for us all. I want you guys to appreciate them and give them their props when you see them. I know that a lot of you are going to be going to holiday parties and things of that nature. All of these people that I just named are very much approachable. They are good people, and I believe that is one of the main reasons, aside from their strategy and them carrying out their plans and checking on what they're expecting and things of that nature. They are good-hearted people, and you can learn from them if you just give it a shot. So for those new agents out here that have joined our firm and you're looking for the people that are the top producers in our company, these people are those people. So make sure that you keep a lookout for them. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and play a little video for you. I thought it would be easier for me to just find just a little video that we can watch together that talks about planning your real estate business for the next year. This lady, Alicia Crastel, is someone that I've been watching for a couple of years now. And she's been around longer than a couple of years, but I've kind of been watching her for the last couple of years, different things that she does. And she developed a business plan. It's actually 3 or 4 years old, but I think it speaks volumes for and it really opens up the space for an agent who may not know what questions they should be asking about their business, and how to look for where to get opportunities from. And she just has this really interesting business plan that I do have available and that I will share as an attachment to this video for those of you who need a specific business plan to kind of get your goals set up. So without further ado, I am going to begin sharing my screen, and we're going to watch this little 7-minute video here.
You want to head into the year with a solidified, easy, simple business plan that you can keep track of and know exactly what you're doing to meet your goals? You're in the right place. My name is Alicia Crastel, and if you're all about simplifying your business and having the most amazing net life ever, make sure you hit the subscribe and we'll get started. By the end of this video, you are going to have a 1-page business plan that maps out exactly what your goal is, where each transaction is going to come from, and how you're going to get those transactions. And without sitting through a class all day or going through a 65-page workbook. This is the exact format I've used to help create my 6+ figure business yearly with having 3 kids, and exactly how I've helped coach other agents to do the same. It's literally 1 page, and you can handwrite it or you can use the template that I have. The first thing we're doing, and it's the most important thing for you to be able to move forward, is figure out what you actually want. How much do you actually want to make? What is your nut to crack every month? Is it 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 60,000? Whatever it is, we have to figure out exactly how much money you need to make for the year. And that's a net number, not the gross commission, because gross commission is not what you keep in your pocket. When you have that, you're going to write at the very top in the blank that says, what is your goal? You are going to write your ultimate goal. And this isn't just a number figure. This is what you want wrapped into that. Do you want to make your kids stuff? Do you want to spend time with your spouse? Do you want to take an extra class? Do you want to have X amount of hours to yourself? And so here's the example, 120K net, working 25 hours a week and not missing any of the kids' events. That could be any number and anything you want in your life. You have to put some context into your goal, because you could say, I want to make 250,000, and we could make that happen, but you may have no life. And you may be fine with that, but this is probably the wrong channel. Once you have what you really want locked in, then you want to go to the second part of this business plan, and that is to put how you feel when you arrive at that. When you accomplish that goal, what does it feel like? And don't skip this because you think it might be cheesy, because I've seen it when people have the realization of what they're going to feel like when that actually happens. It cements your goals in you. It attaches emotion and feeling to that. It's going to help you make your goals happen. So don't skip it. So an example could look like, I feel amazing, connected with my kids, like I provided for my family, calm and secure. You see how that can really attach a feeling to this 120, 250K net? You know what you want. So now how do we get there? Here you have to figure out how many transactions is it going to get you to the amount that you put at the top of the business plan. I like to just figure out what my net commission is, or what my average net commission is per sale. So then you can divide it out. I'm going to use 5,000 just as an easy number and kind of an average for a lot of folks, 5,000 net per transaction. So to get to that 120,000 net commission, we need to do 24 transactions at 5,000 net each. The next step is to figure out where the 24 transactions are coming from. And you can have 3 to 4 like buckets of where your transactions are coming from. In this example, we're going to do the 24 transactions and have 3 buckets or lanes of business that it's coming from. The first bucket is going to be buyers who are coming from your sphere or your fringe, which is your relationships from your spheres. Because remember, each person you know knows 100 people. We're going to plan to do 8 of those 24 transactions from sphere or fringe, and they're going to be buyers. The next 8 of the 24 we're going to plan for them to come from our fringe and sphere, but they're going to be sellers. And then the last 8, which will get us to 24, are going to come from TikTok or YouTube. And again, these categories could be anything you want. One could be social media, one could be open houses, whatever you like your business to come from, you put that at the head category. Let me know what your sources of business are below. We now have broken down where we're getting those 24 transactions from. Now we need to know, if we're going to get 8 buyers from our sphere, how exactly are we going to do that? What activities are we going to do to make 8 buyers bubble up out of our sphere and fringe people? You can do approximately 4 to 6 categories in each one. One's going to be handwritten notes or send out cards to people in my sphere or that I've met once a day. Number 2 is 1 real conversation a day, and no, it does not have to be in real estate. 3 is to connect, comment, or post on social media every day. I don't always post on social media every day, but I always comment or connect with someone. 4 is to teach something weekly that might help my sphere. And how I pick that is that I think of my sphere, how can I help them? What could they learn? How could I teach them something? And I base it off that. I go through the humans in my sphere, and I figure out something that could help them. And I teach it either on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever. 5 is I do 2 client events every year. Number 6 is I have a communication plan I follow that tells me exactly what I'm doing for each sphere, how I'm connecting with them. The second category of getting sellers from your sphere is almost identical, but when I do post or comment or teach something, that's going to be very specific to sellers. So you're going to have 4 to 6 activities that are going to directly support you getting business from your sphere that will be sellers. And the third category, let's say it's YouTube, we're going to do the following activities. 1 video upload a week. 1 of them per month will be a neighborhood tour. Number 3 is sharing on social media. So when you're working on a YouTube video, you're going to share it on social media behind the scenes of what you're doing. You might ask a poll question about the topic that you're doing or what neighborhood people want to see next. 4 is you're going to proactively make relationships through those videos. So when people comment, you're going to comment back. And when you have a connection or you're doing a video on something local, you're going to proactively make relationships with those people during the video. And number 5, you're going to have a downloadable of the neighborhood tours or a first-time homebuyer's guide, seller's guide that can help you collect information and get into contact and conversation with the people watching your videos. I can't stress enough that everything on this business plan that you've written down The only reason you're doing any of it is to get you in conversation with someone else. Everything you do is an excuse to get into a conversation. The cards you send, the client events that you have, it's the invitation process, it's the thank you, it's seeing them and having conversation, the commenting on social media, the teaching. It is all to get conversations with other humans so you can get a real estate client. So it doesn't matter so much about what the specific activity it is. It matters that you're doing it consistently and that it is provoking a conversation. If you want to know how to make every one of those activities happen and get it into your schedule and into your communication plan, that's what we're going to tackle in this video next. And make sure you hit subscribe so you can make this upcoming year your best year in real estate yet. You want to head into the year with a solidified.
Okay. So we are watching that, and she kind of showed you a little bit of what the business plan looks like. The one that and she also I also subscribed to her a couple years ago. I had to go back and find the business plan that she was using, but all of those things that she was pointing out are already in the business plan for you to think about and remember and follow. So instead of just telling you a whole bunch of stuff this year about, how it's important for you to have a business plan and this is the type of business plan you should be filling out, I thought that one was great because it gives you the specific things already built in that you should be doing and thinking about. And so it kind of does all of the hard work for you. Well, I'm up to 21 minutes and I'm really trying to keep it for less than an hour. So let me go ahead and move on to my next thing. I want to talk a little bit about RESPA and the fact that we really need to be paying attention to how we communicate with our clients when it relates to referrals and things of that nature. As we know, Zillow is always getting sued. There's always something going on. Where a couple of weeks ago, Zillow, actually some months ago, Zillow had another lawsuit brought against them. I think I talked to you about it in a previous video. We talked about the Zillow Flex plan and how they had this program set up where they were employing agents or having agents pay for leads. And in that process, the agents had to kind of steer the buyer that they were working with towards the Zillow Home Loans program or company. And they were not, agents were not actively disclosing to those buyers that they were being referred to this Zillow Home Loans because of Zillow and things of that nature. And so people in about 10 states felt like they got cheated, and it's a whole situation. Well, they actually filed an antitrust lawsuit initially, but based on some of the things that have transpired and some of the evidence that they've gotten from some additional buyers who have been added to this lawsuit, it was actually amended to include RICO charges. So, I mean, I know what a RICO charge is. That is a very serious offense. And basically, it's a RICO charge is something that they give like mafia people and like big time drug dealers for, conspiring to commit crimes and things of that nature. So Zillow has been slapped with a RICO allegation because of the way that they ran that Zillow Flex plan and how they communicated and the efforts that they used to communicate with their buyers that they had this mortgage company that they were using agents to refer them to. And also the same thing. So they kind of made it arbitrary for buyers to try to negotiate the buyer representation, the commission rates and things of that nature. So they're getting sued with all of that. stuck with all of that. Now, there's nice, not just Zillow, it's Zillow and a few big box companies, probably some of these big box companies that had the brokerage relationship with Zillow, like Best had at one point. And so they're probably getting so many leads based on what they're paying for. And then those were the agents that they picked on to figure out how they could place this RICO charge. So I don't have one opinion on it one way or the other. I really just wanted to use that as an opportunity to remind you guys that we should not be steering people in a certain direction. We should be giving them options as it relates to who they use as a service provider, their lender, and everything like that. And if you are getting a kickback, you need to disclose that to everybody that's involved in the transaction because it keeps you safe. So that's really all that I had to say about Zillow. But it's a class action lawsuit, and the attorneys that are managing this is Hagens Berman. So you can learn more about this lawsuit and exactly what Zillow is being charged with by going to hbsslaw.com/cases/Zillow-agent-class-action. And they have all the things on here that you need to know. If you were affected, if you think that you were used in some sort of way, or maybe you weren't given all the information that you felt you needed to get from Zillow, or let me not say you, your buyers. Maybe if they feel slighted in any way, then this would be the way for them to get involved in that. So I'm not asking for you guys to go out and actively solicit people for this lawsuit. I'm just saying if it comes up, and it probably won't, because I didn't see any companies from this area that were involved in it, but there are quite a few. Just make sure that you know how to direct people. And then I wanted to show you this because I love reading the different real estate news, and when I can share, I do. So this article is from realestatenews.com, and it's talking briefly about how much of how America's housing is owned by corporations. And I'm not going to go into the whole article with you. It's about a 4-minute read, so it's not really long. And if you guys haven't subscribed to Real Estate News, please do so. They have a lot of great information on here about what's going on in our markets, and they have it broken down in such a smart way. But this this article is about how much of America's housing is owned by corporations. So they did an analysis. They took about 500 counties that are what they consider urban, so inner city, and they found that 1 in 11 parcels is corporate owned. But that is not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It's not that is happening all over. It's just happening really in certain areas and key markets. So here are some key points that they wanted us to glean from the article. Lincoln Institute of Land researchers found that corporations, which can include small local buyers, own 8.9% of residential parcels in urban areas. In St. Louis, Baltimore, Miami, and Richmond, that percentage is doubled. And then across the Sun Belt, which we all know where the Sun Belt is, out-of-state investors make up an above average share of corporate owners. Mega investors, or entities that own 1,000 units or more, have grown very quickly in the last decade, but policy pressure to regulate them has also gained momentum. So they are in some places trying to drag down on or clamp down on these big, huge hedge funds, mega property owners from coming in and sucking out all the viable properties and opportunities from the market. Like I said, there's a section here that speaks about that, how they're working to take back some of this property, making it available for retail consumers, such as the people that we serve in the residential side. They did have a little challenge in trying to figure out who some of these big mega donors are, because they hide behind a corporate veil. And prior to 2011, I thought this was interesting. No single investor owned more than 1,000 single family properties anywhere in the United States. But then just 10 years later, 32 institutional mega investors collectively owned 446,000 single family homes across the country, with the 5 largest companies holding nearly 300,000 homes combined. So that is definitely a problem. Even though it's not a national problem, it could easily become that without people keeping a watchful eye and trying to come up with solutions that would make that happen less. And so this is definitely a story or trend that I'm going to try to keep following to see, if the efforts of those people who are fighting against this are successful. Yeah. And so the next thing that I wanted to go over really quickly is something that is more is common for our area, and it's information about our area that I should say that you guys have seen before, but I definitely want to make sure that I keep showing you guys this kind of information so that you can at some point figure out how to go get it yourself. It's definitely good information to have when you have certain questions from your buyers. So what I have done is I have gone under research and statistics at the National Association of Realtors. They put out all of these wonderful dashboards and all of this great data and information that we should be looking at. This went back to Newark and New Jersey. And hold on, let me take us back to the main page because I want to show you how to do this. So there is a video at the bottom that shows you what I'm about to do right now. So if you wanted to go and check this out, you would go to research and statistics on nar.realtor. You would then go to NAR's Metro Market Statistics. You would find in this drop down box your area. So I'm going to look for Memphis because that Memphis is going to include Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas because as you know, those 3 states collectively are called the Mid-South. And then you just click on the icon below to see the statistics. And then you can click on this button to get a PDF of the report. So we're not going to click on the PDF. We don't need to see that. I just wanted to click on some of these things so that you can see what I see. And then up here, you can click on the other reports as well. So this is what I wanted to show you guys, the housing affordability for Memphis, Tennessee, which includes Arkansas and Mississippi. We're considered the Mid-South. The average monthly rental payment right now in our area is about $1,422. It's the median. And a qualifying income to purchase a home that is priced at the median home value price, you need to be making $68,256. This is the Housing Affordability Index, and they give you a great explanation of what it is. The value, it's a value of 100 in here, means a median income family can exactly afford the median priced home under current mortgage rates and with a down payment of 20%. Values below 100 indicate that the typical family doesn't have enough. They don't earn enough to afford to buy the median priced home. So share of income that homeowners and renters spend on housing. 30% or higher is considered cost burden. So they let you know that, and then they come down here and they show you owners. Right? And then they show you the renters. And then they have another column that says share of households and renters who can afford to purchase a median priced home by age group. So less than 25, 21.4% of all households, owners and renters less than 25 years old can afford to purchase a median price home in the area. Then it goes up a little bit for 25 to 34, up a little bit more for 35 to 44. From 45 to 64, it gets a little bit better, or actually drops, I'm sorry. And then 65 and below or plus, it drops. Less than 25, which are renters, is 20%. 25 to 34 is a little bit higher. 35 to 44, it goes up a little bit, and then it starts to drop again. So we're seeing the same thing in both renters and homeowners as it relates to the age. So that's something that we might want to consider. I also want to tell you this. There's other reports in here. There's housing statistics. So they show you all kinds of things. Financing, economic conditions. Like we had 48,549 loan applications that were filled out. It's since the last time they did this report. 48.5% a share of originations, 18% denial rate for this area, and then average mortgage rate is 6.9%. So right on par with what the mortgage rates are. And then you see a breakdown of application by loan type and then originations, right, by age. So this is really important information. Even if you're just using it for yourself, you can use it to gauge how you work with the client. You can use it to give the client information about things that they may need to do. Sometimes clients feel discouraged and they feel like they're the only one in a specific situation. You can use this information to help the client to feel less alone. And there's just a whole bunch of benefits to that. So I did want to make sure that I pointed that out to you guys to remind you to go ahead and look at those. And now they're going to be having information where you can look at it throughout for the whole year. I do have one other article. Like I told you guys, I get information from everywhere, and I love this publication. It comes to me absolutely free. It's from the Institute for Justice. We do have an office here in the Mid-South, in the Memphis area, and they handle all types of interesting issues. And I mostly get stories about how they handle real estate. And so in Georgia, we got a big win for tiny homes. The city of Calhoun basically has an issue with affordable housing. And so this nonprofit comes along. It's called Tiny House Hand Up, which would offer a hand up on the ladder of homeownership rather than, and so what they were doing is they were building little bitty tiny houses on this property that they have. And so that they can provide a reasonable mortgage costs or reasonable rent to first-time home buyers, usually a lot of whom are young people with no kids. And so Calhoun, the city of Calhoun in Georgia, tried to stop this. They set up a ban banning homes, single-family homes that were smaller than 1,150 square feet from being built within the city limits. Then the Tiny House Hand Up organization applied for a variance from that requirement, and then the city council denied it. So the Tiny House Hands Up teamed up with IJ or International Justice to challenge the ban under the Georgia Constitution, and they won. A state trial judge ruled that the city cannot ban smaller homes on Tiny House Hand Up's land. The ruling rests on a procedural gambit by the city that backfired spectacularly. Under Georgia's due process clause, and thanks in large part to a previous victory that the Institute of Justice had, zoning restrictions must bear a substantial relation to public health, safety, or general welfare. We presented evidence, which is the tiny house hand up, presented evidence conclusively establishing that banning the smaller homes is completely unrelated to any legitimate interest. And so there are some other things in there, but they basically won, and now they're able to build tiny homes. I actually asked our city and county officials at a neighborhood meeting where they were talking about managing the rezoning process for our city if tiny homes were able to be built within the city limits. And I was actually told, and I do have the name and phone numbers of the two representatives that told me, I was actually told that we can build tiny homes within the city limits. We just have to make sure that we follow all the rules as it relates to easements and things of that nature. And also, the tiny home cannot be on wheels, it has to be on a permanent foundation. So, for all you developers out there, people who are looking for ways to help your clients to locate affordable housing, that is something that we can offer in the Memphis area. And there is companies out here who are building tiny homes. A few years ago, I became an affiliate for Boxable. I am still an affiliate for Boxable, and so that's one place that you can start to look for that kind of information. And the last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is that we are going to, in 2026, exceed some new loan limits for conforming loans. I'm going to share my screen one last time for you guys so that you can see these. And I get this information from Mortgage Daily News. So the conforming loan limit is going to rise to $832,750 amid the lowest home price growth since 2012. You can read all of that there if you want to. I did, but that's not. You can. The information is good to know, but what you really want to know is what are these rates, loan limits going to go up to? And here they are right here. And just so you guys know, the FHFA is who announced these loan limits. FHFA stands for Federal Housing Finance Agency, and I think they came about maybe after 2011 or something. So they're a fairly new entity that works with the government. And so they are responsible for announcing the baseline conforming loan limits for one unit property. So these are for single family residences. And the conforming loan limit now is $832,750. It's an increase of $26,250. High cost areas will see a limit of $1,249,125, or 150% of the national baseline. These updates reflect slower but still positive home price appreciation over the past year and will shape eligibility and pricing for conforming mortgages. While pricing remains historically high, the market's monthly performance continues to flatten, both with FHFA and Case-Shiller signaling subdued momentum. There is little reason to expect an acceleration in year-over-year gains in the near term. The combination of modest appreciation and updated loan limits sets a cooler but stable backdrop heading into 2026. So now that is what they are saying, is that we are still going to have kind of a slow market for 2026. They are expecting some rebounding to happen. They are expecting some price shifting to favor borrowers or buyers in 2026, but they are not expecting the markets to fall off a cliff, and neither am I. I think that we are going to see some very unique opportunities. We're going to definitely have to do some shifting in our thinking, and I've been working on that. And I want to say Walter Ware is someone who kind of got me to thinking in this path, and I love it when agents feel so passionate about something and they can share their enthusiasm about something in a way that it moves me, because a lot of times I'm not really movable. But he has moved me in the way of the AI, and really wanted to learn more about, its capabilities and how it's going to possibly affect what we do in the future. And so on our next um, podcast, I am going to show you some things. It'll be all about AI and the different marketing materials that we can use. And I think I'll take that time in that episode to kind of close us out for the year. Just leave you with something to think about. I'm just really trying to, make sure that I reiterate to you guys that if you want to be successful in this business, you're going to have to plan, and you're going to have a plan, and you're going to have to execute it consistently. And as things change, as markets change, as tools change, and things become more available, we're going to have to learn about those things if we want to keep up. And so I thank Walter for bringing that up to me about the AI more than once. I have been playing with Walter, and um, while I'm still skeptical, I have my eyes have been open to why you like it. And so we're going to talk about that, and hopefully I can arrange it so that you can be on this call or this podcast with me, and we can do it together. So that's all that I have today, guys. Until next time, I want you to be positive about your future for 2026 as it relates to real estate and all other areas of your life. I definitely want you to be prayerful. This is definitely a time for us to rely on our faith, to, help us to get through some of the things that we may have to face as it relates to world events, our personal lives, and things of that nature. I've suffered loss this week, and so has Tennille. And so, I just want you guys to pray for us. And we're praying for you. And if the Lord sees fit, I will be back here in another week with that information about the AI. And I am definitely looking forward to having a fabulous holiday with my family. And I'm looking forward to starting the year off bright and strong with all of you. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Make sure that you're mindful and being safe out here, and especially shopping and doing all those things that we do to prepare for Christmas. And I hope that you have the opportunity to meet someone who is going to give you the biggest real estate sale of your life. See you next time. Bye now.